Thanks for staying with us. A massive document dump courtesy of Elon Musk confirms social media giant Twitter suppressed a 2020 New York Post story about Hunter Biden and the contents of his laptop. The story in question revealed emails that the son of the president, Joe Biden, peddled his father's influence with Ukrainian businessmen. After the story was released, Twitter executives labeled it hacked material and barred users from tweeting links to it. All of this just weeks before the 2020 presidential election. And joining us tonight to help us break it all down is Julie Gunlock, Program Director at the Independent Women's Forum. Julie, great to be with you today. A lot to unpack here with a lot of players, as you know. But what do you make of all this? And are you surprised? I mean, we were told at the very beginning this was all Russian disinformation.
That's right. You know, a lot of independent journalists have been, concerned about this for a lot of years. And now we have confirmation with Matt Taibbi's pretty alarming Twitter thread. I thought it was interesting that Elon Musk broke this story on his own platform. Pretty smart strategy there. But it clearly shows there were back channels between Twitter and the Democratic Party and the campaign, not to mention the DOJ. It's very concerning. It shows that there was influence and messing with the election. So it's hard to say what will happen next, but we'll be watching that. And again, it's very concerning that the government and big tech colluded to influence the election.
Yeah, and let's talk specifically about the FBI. I mean, some say they were in on it, even warning Twitter about the Hunter Biden story. At the end of the day, I mean, do you think their involvement will amount to anything? And what do you think should happen?
Well, I certainly think there'll be some lawsuits, but really the best way to solve this problem is through elections. People need to understand that this is happening, and they need to elect people who can change laws and who can further ensure that the elections are as the people want. This is, again, a really disturbing thing. We need to have some checks on big tech. Government is saying, look, we're not infringing on anyone's First Amendment rights, but they're employing big tech to do that for them by suppressing people's First Amendment rights to post things, to share things. Twitter was deplatforming people. And again, that is a form of violation of people's First Amendment rights. Just the government is using a big tech company to do that.
Yeah, and Julie, in your opinion, I mean, do you think the suppression of this story swayed the 2020 election?
Absolutely. We have seen polling post-election, post the election of President Biden, where people said if they had known about Hunter Biden and his connections to China and Ukraine, and the allegations that Biden himself was a part of some of these business deals, they would have changed their vote. So I think that we know that people were concerned about this when it was finally revealed by people like Miranda Devine, who wrote that incredible book detailing some of the things that we know now. I think people are still very concerned that Biden is compromised and that his son is a huge national security risk. So I don't think there's any doubt that this definitely had an impact on the election.
Yeah, and as you've mentioned, I mean, these are really stunning revelations, though it seems it's really not topping a lot of headlines, a lot of places. What can you tell me about the media coverage of this story?
Well, that's also a part of this wheel. Look, the media has been a part of this, and now, they're sort of in this rush to dismiss this story as well. They are particularly angry that people with Substacks, individual or independent journalists, are talking about this. And look, they are a part of this cabal. It's government, it's big tech, and it's sort of legacy media that really have suppressed speech and given essentially in-kind contributions to the Biden campaign.
Julie, we have a little more than a minute left. I want to switch gears here and talk about another story that's also making waves. An elementary school in Chesapeake, Virginia will soon be hosting an after-school Satan club. What more can you tell us about this? I understand that this club is sponsored by the Satanic Temple, and they're starting these clubs at elementary schools all over the country. It's all so disturbing.
It is so disturbing, and it's sort of amazing that we're even talking about this. It seems like this would have been inconceivable in any normal society, but here we are. And look, this is clearly a stunt, though. This satanic temple has said publicly that they don't actually worship Satan. Rather, they're a literacy club, and they're dedicated to philosophy and reason. Why they couldn't call themselves a literacy or reason or philosophy club, and we know the reason. It is to antagonize and insult Christians. That is the point of this. Again, this is a stunt, and a lot of schools, I think, are afraid that they'll be sued or get in some sort of trouble if they don't welcome this club, because they are really legally bound to host any club that asks. I think this will be challenged. I hope there are lawsuits, and I hope some elementary schools out there and other schools that are facing this and other communities stand up against this. This is just clear bullying of Christians.
And we're going to leave it right there. Julie, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate getting your insights.
Thanks for having me.